Let's talk about some little AEW. I was only able to watch the first match. I got to see Lance Archer versus, oh God, I forgot his name already.
Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana. Yes, and
Boom boom.
Boom Boom. Yes, yeah. He does his own tights. He puts the wordings on his tights, which is cool for him. I don't know that much about Colt Cabana. I'm not a big fan of his, but he is good. He moves fast for a big guy. He gave Lance Archer a very, very good match. That was a very entertaining and physical match, but I knew at the end of the day, I didn't think Colt Cabana was going to win because AEW right now is really putting the rocket strap to Lance Archer. At the end of the day, I thought it was a very good match, and Colt Cabana did a great job in putting him over. But aside from everything else, I did not see AEW. I've heard that the main event was very, very good. Very tough match. Rumor has it also that JR was a little lost in commentary, and it wasn't all his fault. It was because they didn't give him material to talk about. I don't think he reviewed the match, before that, so he was a little lost. But you can talk to me about it and give me more or less what are your thoughts on the show. So, Mr. Met fan Lou, can we start with you, please?
Absolutely. I actually thought AEW was really good this week. I thought that again for AEW, I think they had some segments there that we could have done without. Just to talk about the Cabana and Lance Archer match, I actually thought that the match was booked correctly. I thought it was booked to be something like 75-25 for Archer. I personally would have given Cabana a little less on offense. I just thought that the match should have been a little more one-sided. The fact that the match went 2 segments, I just thought it went too long. Again, it's a matter of this is a tournament, and if this is only Lance Archer's 3rd match on TV, I understand that Cabana's a bigger guy, so he should get some offense in. The fact that he knocked down, the fact that Archer actually went down on the mat, that's a no-no, because that's a no-no.
I do remember that part of the match.
I thought, I'm like, no, at no point should Archer ever been knocked off his feet. He could have been staggered. He could have been, probably need to hold to the ropes, but definitely not fall to the ground. I don't think they should have given Cabana that much. Overall, I thought the match was good. It told the proper story. Cabana is supposed to get some offense. He's a bigger dude. So obviously this is not going to be a straight, squash match. The only one thing that I would please ask Lance Archer to do is please stop doing this when you go to the ring. When you come into the ring, you hit your opponent, you knock him down, and then you go to the corner to like do your little ring entrance and all that stuff. Please stop doing that. If you've punched your opponent in the mouth and you knock them down, just take off the jacket and basically yell at the referee to ring the bell. Get the match started, because it just looks silly. But I thought the match was not bad. It was well done. Cabana did what he was there to do, and that's to help Archer get over, and it was fine. Those little tidbits notwithstanding, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. No. Yeah, I kind of agree with Lou with that. With the entrance, and just once you start the match, start it. Stop showboating. But I don't find anything wrong with that personally. But then again, like how big of a guy he is and how they're pushing him as his monster is no time to showboat. And ring the bell because I'm gonna kick your I'm gonna kick your rear. But yeah, absolutely, Lou. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna say the fact that makes this look sillier is the fact that there's only like 10 people out of ringside and they're all wrestling school students. So at that point, it's just like you don't have an audience, and that's the reason why even more so he shouldn't be doing that. Maybe if there was a live crowd, maybe it may not have bothered me as much, but with a pretty much empty crowd, you shouldn't do
that. Yeah. At the end of the day, yeah, he's still a monster. Vic Webb, I'm sorry, man. Go for it. I'm sorry.
Vic Webb.
Chris Webber, I'm sorry.
I know.
A new name.
Anywho, let me see. Takeaways from this match. I think the right guy won. What I will say is that Colt Cabana, the thing with Colt is depending on which wrestling community you're talking to, is either a nobody or he's a legend. In AEW's world, he's a legend. That's probably why he got a little bit more offense than he normally would have gotten. And I'm okay with the offense he got, and I'll tell you why. The few times that Colt got over on Archer during the match was Archer making a mistake or getting ahead of himself or going too fast. And Colt took advantage. Colt's offense really didn't work until Archer messed up. So yeah, I was cool with the match. I thought it was fun. Yeah, I really didn't mind it. I had a good time watching it.
Did you think it was too long going 2 segments?
It's tough because I like longer matches. I I wish it didn't go 2 segments. I rather Archer, but not because of length. The same match, but don't go to the commercial break until it's over. You get what I'm saying? I don't want a commercial break that early in the show during Archer, who's to me he's the main focus of the show as of late. He's the guy that everyone's talking about. So during his match, I don't think we should go to a commercial. It could be the same length, but it would have not felt as long if it didn't go to commercial. It would have felt quicker. It's not that long a match.
No, it probably went like maybe. I mean, listen, it probably went from bell to bell, probably 10 minutes, 12 minutes. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is that in a match like that, I think you could have told it in maybe 7 or 8 minutes. And obviously, again, it's not going to be a straight up squash match. It's not intended to be that because Cabana is not Joe Schmo.
Yeah.
That audience knows who he is. I really loved the 2 video packages that they presented. The one with Jake Roberts, and then the one they did for Colt Cabana. Because realistically, what AEW did, at least to me, is that with Colt Cabana having him speak, they actually allowed him to essentially introduce himself to a larger audience, number one, and to also dispel, some of the people that say, yeah, well, there's like a certain section of the wrestling audience that they're not really digging me. So I was like, that was very nice. And the thing is that they actually made Colt Cabana look like a bigger star because without that package, Colt Cabana goes into that match only having wrestled maybe 3 matches on AEW TV, all of them probably being in their YouTube show. It would have been like, then if the match would have went 10, 12 minutes that way, I would have said this match was awful. But knowing that they did it that way, I was like, very nicely done. Good use. They introduced the man and made the match make more sense.
And the right guy won.
Yeah, I also like.
Absolutely.
I also like. I like the packages because it's a tournament. It's like it makes the tournament feel important, which is hard when there's no fans, and it's hard for anything on television right now to feel important. But that tournament, I'm like, yo, whoever wins, this is gonna be a big deal, which I think Archer is gonna win.
Absolutely, it's built for him to win. The only thing that I didn't like in the first round is actually the left side of the bracket because they put Cody and Spears in the first round, and then they have Darby against Sammy Guevara. I would have preferred to have Cody against Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin against Spears in round 1, where you could have had 2 good matches, but you don't have to really. They're not main event matches on their own. And then you put Spears and Cody in the semifinals, and then the match they had in round 1, which I thought they did too much, would have made more sense in the semifinals because the stakes are higher.
Yeah, and I think, well, with Spears, if you pay attention to his booking, there's something going on because he stopped doing singles. He's looking for a partner, so I think that's the direction. I don't know what that's going to lead to, but I think Spears is, like I said a few episodes back, that AEW, what they do is if a guy needs a win, they can take a tag wrestler, throw him in there. They can beat a tag wrestler. It doesn't hurt him, right? Same thing.
Depending on who it is.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean they did it. They did it this episode, and I thought it was good. They used Chuck Taylor to help Kip Sabian get a win.
Yeah,
Chuck Taylor is not a singles wrestler. It doesn't hurt him to lose to Kip Sabian because no one's gonna remember that he had a singles match. Because anytime you think of Chucky T, you think of a tag match.
Well, but I'll if you want to segue into that match, I can tell you why I didn't like that match. One is because of the fact that I don't think that it actually did Kip Sabian the favor the way that it should have. Here's the thing. Kip Sabian, when you put him in the first round against Dustin Rhodes, when you look at it on paper, it's just like, all right, Kip Sabian has no chance. Right? If you look at it on paper, you're like, all right, this match is going to clearly be set up for Dustin Rhodes to win.
Mhm.
Kip Sabian might give him a good match. There'll be some spots. You can have Penelope Ford in there. Then you can have a spot for Brandy Rhodes because Brandy's technically Dustin's manager too, you know, whatever have you. So in the match with Chuck Taylor has never been presented, you know, as a tag team wrestler or a singles wrestler to be somebody who should be considered like a real threat, the way he's been presented. So they have him come out with Orange Cassidy, and then they have Penelope Ford and Sabian come out. The fact that Orange Cassidy never really gets involved in the matches except to do, you know, whatever he does, it's just like, okay, that doesn't make any sense to have Jimmy Havoc come out and essentially cheat to help, Chuck Taylor, you know, lose the fall to Kip Sabian. When I saw the match, I was like, this match was, you know, again, I have my quarrels about Chuck Taylor because I think he actually worked. They did good chain wrestling in the beginning, and I was really impressed. But what ends up happening is that then Chuck Taylor starts doing all the goofy stuff that he loves to do as part of his character, and that just completely takes me away from the match. And I don't think that it gave Kip Sabian a strong enough win to where he can go in against Dustin Rhodes and not look like, you know, that the stakes still seem very low. You know, I don't see Kip Sabian beating Dustin Rhodes. I think realistically, this is a match that's intended for Dustin to get a good win in the first round. And then when he faces against Lance Archer in round 2, you'll get a good match that'll be, again, it should be something like 70-30, 65-35 for Archer, where Dustin's going to give him some trouble, but not enough. Then Archer lays him out, like really lays him out, you know, strongly to basically make the match with Cody for the title high stakes. Cody will take the fall. Cody can lose. It's not a problem. But I just think that in the semifinals with Cody's match, whether he wrestles against Guevara or Darby Allin, because that match is a toss-up. Whoever wins that fall, I don't see that being a great semifinal match in terms of like tension and stakes. It would have been better had those matches taken place in round 1, because I think that, again, it's a matter of layering, and especially the way AEW presented Spears and Cody in round 1, where they were talking about their previous rematch 9 months earlier. I was like, man, that sounds like a semifinal match. That sounds like something where the stakes are higher and there's more reason. You know, and then the fact that Spears loses in round 1 and now he's looking for a tag team partner, it's just like, I like Spears.
Like he's moved on already.
No, but I like Spears. I like Spears as a single. I don't necessarily know that I'd be wanting to put him in a tag team just yet. I'd want to give him another shot as a singles because I think that he's one of those guys that could make money for the company as a singles and not necessarily as a tag team wrestler.
No, I think he's going to be utility. Spears is going to be a guy who does whatever they need from him, and I think it's just where the story is going, because his story with Cody is never going to be done.
I guess I just thought
he'll be fine. He'll be back.
I guess so. It's just a matter. My preference would be is that I think that a guy like Spears has a good enough presentation that you can really build him up as a good single star, and not necessarily putting him in a tag team. You know, depending on who he gets booked with as a partner, then I can, you know, I'll change my disposition. But for now, I just think that Spears is, you know, he's good as a single star, and I think that, you know, he should be pushed a little harder in that role, not necessarily putting him in a tag team, because it's such a crowded tag team division in AEW that I don't know if it would behoove him to be there.
Well, I think AEW gets a lot of their ideas from like New Japan, and New Japan will put people, if we're not using you in the main event right now, even though you're a main event guy, let's hide you over here for a couple of months. You know, we still use you, but we don't want to have you losing in the main event, you know, for months and months and months. If, you know, we don't have that story ready for you. So let's hide.
Yeah, a lot of the companies do that.
I mean,
as long as you're aware
for anybody.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
I agree.
Hiding people.
Yeah, that is a smart way to do it. To keep you on TV, keep giving you a story.
As long as you remember what you're doing, right? Because that's the important thing. It's like, let's not forget who we're putting in attack. I think they have their stories planned out way in advance. Their ideas and their stories that they want to tell. And you know, obviously sometimes a wrench gets thrown in it. Like right now, there's a little bit of a wrench. But for the most part, they know where they want to go. And I'm enjoying Spears. I think he's over delivering from what I expected. I think he makes the most out of every situation he's in. Every match he has, he does something different, something unique to make the match interesting. It could be something funny, but it fits his character, right? He's a little bit of an asshole, you know. So I think he does bring a lot, and I think they do like him. And when they're ready to pull the trigger, they will.
Listen, I've always liked Sean Spears, even when he was in WWE, and I still like him in AEW. I just always keep thinking that what ends up happening is that no matter where he goes, it almost seems like he could be perpetually in the middle. And sometimes, and again, I've said this before, being perpetually in the middle is kind of like it's like being in purgatory, because if you're the main event, you're the main event for a reason, and if you're the opening match, that kind of gives you a basis. Like, all right, what do I need to do to get better? But when you're perpetually in the middle and you're having good matches, but you're not main eventing, and you're not really the top star in the middle of the card, meaning a guy like Spears is a single, you know, let's say, I mean, if Lance Archer, you know, we're saying that Archer's going to win this tournament and he's a heel, so they're going to really use him. But at some point, they'll have a babyface be the TNT champion.
Yeah.
And a guy like Spears would be perfect to chase after that title. So this is where I'm saying they're probably putting him in a tag team. Again, it's a matter of preference. I would prefer him to remain a single star. But if AEW thinks that putting him in tag team matches and featuring him more is going to be beneficial, then okay, that's fine. You know, just my preference would be just to have him a single star.
But going back to what we were talking about with the way the tournament is set up, see, this tournament could have went, you know, in a couple of different directions. You can go Cody, who will never win the world title, right? So,
and I don't think he's the right guy to be the champion. Not now.
Well, I always prefer for a prize like that for a heel to win it first and then let a babyface chase them. That's me personally, unless you're gonna make a new star. But if there's no real, like if MJF was in the tournament,
oh, he's winning.
Hey guys,
then
I was gonna say, speaking of MJF, what's the situation with him? Is he out with an injury?
No, I don't think he's injured. I think it's just careful booking, slowing down the storylines, making sure that everything we do with MJF has purpose. Let's not just waste MJF.
No, listen. Again, I will say this. MJF is currently the biggest star that AEW has that is not a former WWE talent. The biggest star they have. They have other guys underneath that are building up, you know, like the Darby Allins, Jungle Boy, you know, for lack of, you know, Luchasaurus as a feature.
He's the most complete.
Yeah, but the thing is, a guy. The thing is, MJF exactly.
I'm really over for Sammy. I like Sammy.
Listen, I like Sammy.
I think everybody kind of likes
the most cocky. He's very cocky, arrogant heel.
But he's in the beginning where MJF feels like his presentation is good the way it is. It needs no adjustment.
The thing about Sammy Guevara is that Sammy Guevara is how can I put this? Sammy Guevara is a junior heavyweight wrestler that is now developing a personality and learning a different style, and he's learning how to work differently, working to his character, not necessarily working to the moves he can do. A guy like MJF, he's a complete package. You could put him anywhere, any promotion, anywhere in the world. He's going to find a way to get over. He's fantastic. I cannot say enough good things about MJF. He is by far my favorite performer, my favorite wrestler in AEW, by far. Like, just everything he does is golden. There's nothing, not a single thing he does, whether it's speaking, wrestling, whatever. He could be standing there, just standing there, and he's entertaining.
Anything he does.
I mean, because he the thing about it is that he's a guy that truly understands who his character is. He plays it off well. He's completely fearless about playing that role. He doesn't care about getting the heat. He doesn't care about all those, you know, looking bad or whatever. No, he just goes and he goes for his gusto. God bless him. He's awesome. And AEW is very, very fortunate to have him because he is outstanding.
And he's
like 22 years old.
He's part of the 25 and under club, which I did a little poll on Twitter. Best star is 25 and under. Part of that club.
And he's from New York too, because I heard they
from Long Island.
From Long Island.
From Long Island.
LI, baby. From the LI.
But yeah, back to what I was saying with that bracket. I agree
Did he
with
get
you,
beat up?
Lou. If the
Yeah,
bracket
sorry.
is set up to have Archer win, then I agree with you. Maybe the Spears match, because that Darby and Guevara, it's gonna be a fun match. But there's really nothing to
It's
it.
50-50. That's
Now,
the
if this was made for Darby to win the thing, then him beating Cody as part of his road there would have been awesome because Cody has a win over him and one draw. So that's what I thought it was gonna be. I thought Darby was finally gonna beat Cody, but when I saw Archer on the other side, I'm like, oh, we're gonna do Archer Cody, and Archer's gonna beat him, and then Cody has to chase him, or somebody else has to chase him up and get it back. So
correct.
that's
Yeah.
it's a minor thing. But yeah, I agree. I agree with that placement. I like the other placement on the other side. Archer Colt. It's a good way to make Colt look good, but it's like fuck. I'm facing this monster. Archer looks like a monster. Colt doesn't look like a pushover. He just
No,
lost to
not
a
at all. It was
monster.
never intended to be that.
Yeah, and Kip Sabian is a guy I think they like, and they want him. They want to present him and give him fun things to do. But him letting Dustin kick his ass right now is the right thing to do for the
Either,
story. So
yeah.
and Dustin said that he will retire if he can't beat Kip Sabian.
Here's
So he's
listen.
definitely winning.
Let's put it like this. As far as I'm concerned, that's like the silliest thing that AEW could do with this particular match, only because of the fact that this match, realistically, this is a zero stakes match. They're putting this as kind of like a carrot to dangle to make the match seem more important than it really is. With all due respect, Dustin Rhodes he's a first ballot Hall of Famer on any wrestling Hall of Fame list. Kip Sabian is a guy who's a good-looking kid, good wrestler. He's got the hot chick with him. He's got the great presentation. But to the American audience, he's being very much introduced. So as far as I'm concerned, it's just absurd that they're even putting that as a carrot to dangle for this match. I definitely thought the Britt Baker match was correctly done. I just honestly didn't like the fact that Britt Baker lost the week before to Hikaru Shida. In all honesty, and I say this with all due respect, because I know that the AEW crowd, they might have a fascination with the Japanese wrestling leagues, but come on, man, Britt Baker's the most marketable female they have on their roster. She's a good-looking woman. She's articulate. She may not be the smoothest wrestler, bell to bell, but you can work on that. She's still very green, but she found her voice and she found her character as a heel. I don't know why you have her lose to Shida. With all due respect, Shida's not going to draw you a dime in this country. Britt Baker has a possibility of doing that if booked correctly. And I just thought that, yeah, you have her beat Cassandra Golden, which she's a AEW student. Fine, it's an enhancement match. It was perfect. It was exactly what it needed to be. I just didn't think that Britt Baker, you can have her win that match, but against Shida, realistically, Baker should have won that match. Even if she cheated, she should have won that match. Hikaru Shida, I don't know.
I mean, I get it, and Britt Baker as a babyface, and her lack of in-ring skill mattered.
Yes.
Now it does not. Now
Because
with the character that she has right now, and the finish that she has, I think it's perfect now. She's good to go when they're ready for her. But I think they're trying to keep everything heel babyface unless they set up a three-way. Shida is next up. They've been presenting her as next up. I think when they're done with her, whether she wins or loses to Nyla Rose might not come back to TV until this is over. So they have to find a way. Maybe they could find a way to get the belt off of her if she's not coming back for 3 months. I'm okay with that. Britt should be the next heel champion for sure. I just don't know if Britt should be the one to beat Nyla Rose.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the thing that gets me about Nyla Rose is that I think that AEW, even though they try to present her strong, I still believe that AEW has done so much to damage her because of the fact that, the way that they initially booked her, meaning that they had her lose to people like Riho and Yuka Sakazawa, all these little 100-pound, little girls that they look like small children next to Nyla Rose. So it's this whole you want to book her to be a monster, but yet she's losing to other wrestlers that look like little kids standing next to her, so it looks silly. The fact that she had to come up with every move in her arsenal to beat Riho for the title, I thought actually did more to hurt Nyla Rose than it did to help her. They could have done a match where Riho could have been the babyface under, fighting from underneath and everything, but not kicked out of like every single move that Nyla Rose could possibly do. Like, you could have cut 5, 6, 7 minutes off that match. They went like 20. You could have cut that match in half and would have gotten the point across, because you want to have return matches. And the fact that, you want to make Riho look so strong is like, now you got to rebuild Nyla Rose. And yeah, the fact that Nyla Rose is not on TV right now, and she's not going to be on TV, it seems, for the foreseeable future, is actually a problem for Nyla, because you have no way of really being able to present her, because she's actually a pretty good promo. The one promo that I saw her cut with Shivani was actually really good. So
I'm trying to think. She's probably the best out of the women's locker room. She might be the best promo. Trying to think.
I would say Britt Baker. I like Britt Baker's promos better. I think they're more.
I still think Britt's delivery, it's fine, but there's something off about her delivery. But the promo itself, the words and the mannerisms are perfect, and her talking shit to Shivani, all of that playing off Shivani is perfect.
No, it's
but
been.
There's the confidence in her speaking that's lacking. Like,
no,
listen, that she will get, because she's getting confidence every week. So.
All I know is that if they're going to take the belt off of Nyla Rose and put it on anybody,
that's when it's break.
Because listen, like I say, I say that again, and I'll say it again, for the fans of indie wrestling, I know that there's a huge fascination with Japanese wrestling. It's just a matter that, again, this is no longer about trying to entertain an indie fan audience that's very small. Now you're talking about entertaining a larger group of people. And again, I don't think that any of these Japanese female wrestlers are going to draw you a dime for your company. They could be good wrestlers, work good matches, but the fact that you're presenting them as your top tier talents may not necessarily be the best booking thing long term. If this is a short-term thing and you want to use Hikaru Shida to take the belt off of Nyla Rose to then lose it to Britt Baker, I'm fine with that. But I think that the AEW locker room has a lot of really talented North American wrestlers that they can book and present more on TV, and not necessarily present so many Japanese talents who can't cut a promo, don't speak English, and don't seem to translate very well. Like, the way that their work doesn't necessarily always translate. Even the match that Shida had with Britt Baker 2 weeks ago looked very choppy and very sloppy at times. And I don't know if it's a matter of, both wrestlers being semi-green, or the fact that maybe there's a communication issue. But the match looked very sloppy at times, which is fine. It's supposed to look that way. It's pro wrestling. It shouldn't be super smooth anyway. I'm fine with that. I just thought the wrong person won, but that's okay. I'll get over it. Britt Baker won her match this week, which was good. And she won emphatically. Even though there was like a little time, a little long or whatever, I didn't care. It was perfect. It did what it was supposed to do. The Sammy Guevara match, I'm sorry, it was awful. It was awful. Sammy Guevara, when you're trying to present Sammy Guevara as having a warm-up match for Darby Allin, and he's wrestling, Pineapple Pete, that he's been in the audience for the last 3 weeks, and Jericho's just been, ripping him for the last 3 weeks. The fact that match took whatever it was, 5 minutes or whatever it was, and Pineapple Pete got offense on him, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was screaming at my TV, like, or I should say screaming at my phone, because I was watching it on my phone. And I was like, end the damn match. Just finish him. That match should have taken him a minute and a half tops. What Sammy Guevara is there to do is do 2 or 3 devastating moves to him, put him down, and then lay the beat down on him. Darby comes out. They could have done the same thing at the end, where Sammy Guevara wants to get a little more at the end. Darby comes out and runs him out. That would have been fine. It's just there was about 4 minutes in between that I was like, this is 4 minutes of unnecessary stuff. Pineapple Pete should have gotten 0 offense in this match. Nothing. He's just there to get his tail kicked. He looked like crap. Everything about his presentation. The only thing that made that match good, Vic, that made that match good was Chris Jericho on commentary. Chris Jericho was amazing.
Chris Jericho's seems
Chris
to be
Jericho
doing.
was great.
I guess we know what Chris Jericho is gonna do after when he retires.
Chris Jericho was awesome because that's the only thing that made that match even halfway decent to watch. It was awful. The match with Shawn Spears, and again, listen, Shawn Spears can be a character, can be, want to be kind of like, talk nonsense and all that stuff. But again, that match was too long. He he looked way too cocky and overconfident, and the kid actually got a near fall on him, which I'm like, dude, listen, the idea of a squash match, again, I understand that they're trying to make the squash matches somewhat different. No, the squash matches are intended to make your top talent look good. That's it. Those guys who are there to get squashed are not there to look good. They're not there to get any offense. The only offense they're there to get is the backbone stay take against the mat. That's it. Nothing else. Just like seriously, they're trying to make them semi-entertaining, but they're not. It takes me away from the match because they showed the match with Billy Gunn from AEW Dark, which realistically, that's the match they should have showed on AEW Dynamite. Shawn Spears versus Billy Gunn, because that's a match that you could show and be like, all right, this is cool. Watch Billy Gunn. Like, that match would have been much better served. It could have been a more competitive match. Spears gets a good-looking win and not wrestle, Joe Schmo, who he worked with. It just silly. Just absolutely silly. The whole segment with the bubbly bunch, it was funny, but it was poorly placed. That segment should have been on last week's show, not this week. Simply put, because they're presenting all these segments with Jake Hager being, super serious and focused on his match, and then they do that one segment where I'm like, damn it, if you would have done that segment if you would have aired that the week before, I would have been totally fine with it. Because they aired so many packages the week before and they just kept repeating packages on the same matches that I would have been fine with that 3-4 minutes that they used on that. It was funny, but again, I always have an issue with heels that try to be funny and entertaining because it's wrestling. Heels shouldn't necessarily be that, but I thought it was incorrectly placed based on the world title match. So
I mean, I'm okay with a heel being funny. Only because you can't have everyone like acting the same. Everyone can't be the same. I know plenty of guys that are assholes that are a little bit funny,
touche. But here's the thing, though. The thing about it is that Jericho and Sammy Guevara can do that because first of all, they know how to do it. Their characters exude that, and they can get away with it. I think with Santana and Ortiz, they're trying to do it and they fail. I think that particularly Santana should be a lot more serious and more intense. I think it would be helpful to him. Ortiz could try to be a little more playful because, again, with all due respect to Angel Ortiz, I think that Santana's the star of that team. And, Ortiz could be the secondary guy, so he could try to find different ways. Jake Hager is the muscle. He could be the funniest dude in real life. When you show him on camera, especially if he's going to be wrestling for the world title against Moxley, there shouldn't be anywhere that he's trying to even be slightly funny. He's all business, all straight up. That's the reason why I thought that segment should not have been on. If it's just Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho, I'm fine. I'm totally cool with it. Because those two guys, they can be funny. They can be whatever they want to be because it fits their characters. The other three guys, not so much.
All right, cool. So those packages setting up the main event.
They were outstanding. I mean, Taz,
fun, right?
I mean, how great was Taz?
Taz is always
one segment where Taz was explaining Jake Hager's, the modifications on the chokes. I was like, that is perfect analysis. I'm like, more of that, please. Main event. Let's talk about the main event. Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager. Loved it. Two things that I would have liked.
I'm glad you loved it.
Yes,
because that means that you are consistent because you loved the Edge and Orton match. Give me a second, I have a call.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked that match. I love the match between Moxley and Jake Hager. I thought that there was only two things that I would have made differently about the match. Number one, I would have probably tried, and I'll forgive this to AEW because of the circumstances. I would have tried to probably have that match in a different place altogether. Maybe, in a different facility, only because when Shivani and Jericho signed off to say, "Oh, we're signing it over to Jim Ross," it almost kind of gave the impression that they're going to another location, like this match is taking place in another building, another spot altogether, where it's just, you know, Moxley, Hager, the referee, a few cameramen, and Jim Ross. And if they could have been in a smaller place, almost like the Ciampa Gargano match that aired on NXT a couple of weeks ago, they could have had it, you know, something like that, and it would have been better for me aesthetically. If they couldn't do it, that's fine. That's just me nitpicking. The commentary with Jim Ross, I thought Jim was great in commentary. It's just a matter that, you know, he said a couple of things that kind of annoyed me. Like, you know, he made comments like, "Hey, if this is an empty arena, why are there steel chairs here? If there's an empty arena, why are there guardrails here?" And I just thought to myself, like, that's stupid, man. I'm like, listen, you're even though it's an empty arena match, it's essentially set up for once that match is over, they're going to start filming and they're going to have the regular wrestlers and whatever audience they're going to have, they're going to have them out there, and the set is designed for that. So I just thought those
Also,
two, and I rolled my eyes.
it is not his place as the announcer or commentator of the promotion
To say that.
and the face of the commentary team to say that. It is not your place. It's our place to nitpick and be little annoying brats and be like, "I didn't like this, I like this, I didn't like that." You're basically nitpicking and pointing out shit that you don't like during the show and making, I don't know how many people who love JR are gonna go, "You know what? That's right. There shouldn't be seats and there shouldn't be guardrails. I hate AEW now."
and that just, you know, and here's the thing about that match, why I love the Hager. For like the first 5 minutes of the match, just really good, tight wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was beautiful.
Really tight. Moxley's getting good at that shit.
And you know, the thing that really the reason why I was kind of upset at Moxley watching that is because I'm like, dude, if you can do that, why don't you incorporate it more into your normal matches? Because your matches just seem to be brawls all the time, and I get that that's your style, but you can employ some of those elements and make it work. Because man, it was smooth and it was tight and I was entertained. I was like, man, this is awesome. Then when they went out to the floor and did what they would normally do on the outside, it didn't bother me, because I was like, okay, they did the chain wrestling the first 5 or 6 minutes. It was nice tight holds. You know, Moxley trying to establish to Hager that, hey, you know what, I can do the MMA stuff too. And then Hager obviously showing his superiority based on experience and size. And then from there, once they're done with that, Moxley's like, all right, I've had enough of this. Let's go to the floor. They start fighting and they do all that stuff. They go back into the ring. With JR, I think that there was one moment in the match where he said something about, the match could end anywhere. And then 30 seconds later, he's like, oh, I think the match has something to the extent like, I'm not sure if the match has to end in the ring. And I'm like, dude, that's just something that if you have a producer in your ear, they can basically tell you that. That's a quick, hey Jim, the match has to end in the ring. And then he doesn't make that comment, because that almost sounds like thinking out loud. And when you do something like that,
I'm glad you said thinking out loud. That's probably what he's doing too much of.
Yeah, I mean, you might be thinking out loud, but the thing is, it's one thing if you're like, let's say if Excalibur did it, I would still jump on Excalibur for doing it, but I'd look at him and say it's a lack of experience, right? He's just a guy that he's just like, okay, it's your first rodeo in this big time TV wrestling. So as much as it would bother me, and I'd probably be like, things like that are the reason why he shouldn't be commentating these types of shows, but I'd give him a little bit more of a pass. With a guy like JR, it's like, dude, you've been doing this for 40 years. Like, thinking out loud, that's just something you can have a producer tell you something in your ear, like, hey, Jim, listen, this is a no-holds-barred match, but it has to end in the ring. Boom. If that thinking out loud doesn't happen, and something like that, even though it's very innocuous and whatever, it's you know, it is whatever. But for a guy like me, when I'm really paying attention to the match and I hear something like that, and the commentator essentially contradicts himself within 30 seconds, it's like, dude, that comes across to me as like, Jim, I'm not going to say that you don't know what you're doing, because I got way too much respect for you, but things like that, that's a no-no. That's just, you just need a producer in your ear that kind of tells you, okay, you know, you can easily push the mute button, you know, because it's recorded. You can push the mute button and ask the truck, hey, does this match have to end anywhere? Can it end, or does it must end in the ring? that's a quick 10-second conversation. They'll give you the answer, and then you just keep going.
Yeah. This match, it was okay. I liked it. I didn't have any. I always feel a little weird with Hager. Always, his entire career, I always felt weird when I'm watching him. Something's off. But like you did say, those first 5 minutes is something that AEW does that I think not every company does, and that is highlight that particular genre within wrestling. Right? Hager is an MMA guy with an MMA base, and but he always had that amateur wrestling. But when you're watching WWE, there's a lot of guys with amateur wrestling, but within their matches, you rarely see that. Where you go, oh, look, they're doing some amateur wrestling, and it feels like an amateur wrestling match, or it feels like an MMA match.
I think part of the reason why that happens within WWE is because of the way that those guys are presented. Though the MMA or collegiate wrestling backgrounds, those things are not necessarily highlighted because a lot of those performers, that's not the way that they want to be presented. A guy like Hager, you present that. You couldn't present a guy like Jake Hager and talk about how he's an MMA star and then have him doing Hurricane Ranas. It would be silly.
Mm-hmm.
Even if Jake could do it, it makes no sense to his presentation. I mean, like Dolph Ziggler, everybody always talks about how Dolph Ziggler was a state champion for Kent State University and how great amateur athlete. But the thing is that Ziggler, when you see Ziggler in the ring, he's not presented like Kurt Angle. You understand? When Kurt Angle was in his prime, he's the Olympic wrestler. And, a guy like Dolph Ziggler, he's not presented that way, even though I'm sure that if you wanted to shoot with him, boy, he'll run circles around most guys. But
yeah, well,
so
I get it. But what I'm saying is, WWE does mention they'll mention it. They'll say, "Hey,
don't do it that often anymore."
Dolph Ziggler is a 2-time whatever or 3-time All-American, this or that. But Dolph Ziggler doesn't do anything in his matches to tell me that he's an All-American.
Well,
and I'm just saying that maybe he should. Maybe if someone goes to double leg him and take him down, maybe he should sprawl and like, hey, buddy, it's not gonna be that easy. I know what I'm doing when it comes to this particular style. But either way, that's not a big deal. It is what it is. Ziggler has great matches all the time. But it's just fun to see Hager have a lane. So now you know what to expect in a Hager match. And now there's something to look forward to. Do you like that style? Like the Josh Barnett Bloodsport? I don't know if you heard about this. Josh Barnett has these indie matches where he has MMA style matches. And they're really fun, but they feel like MMA. It feels like a lot of grappling, some striking. There's not even any pinfalls. It's just very unique. And I saw that in those first 5 minutes. It's really fun to watch.
I haven't watched the Josh Barnett stuff, but I know that I enjoyed his commentary in New Japan when he worked with Jim Ross. So I'd be more than willing to watch that.
I'm gonna send you a match.
Please do.
I think you'll like it. It's very interesting. I mean, there's a little things that are a little kooky, whatever, but it's an indie match, but it's still he has something there.
Okay.
He has a lane, and I'd like to see him on a bigger stage now.
I think
he's willing to do one-offs here and there.
I mean, listen, I think that with Jake Hager, realistically, I think that if they meaning AEW, continue to present him with, like, let's say the first 5 minutes of this match is more of an indication of what most of Hager's matches look like, he's going to be great for AEW. Because here's the thing. He lost a match to Moxley that was basically a no-rules match. Now, if they were to rematch in a more traditional wrestling match where Moxley could not do half the things he did, then you can tell a different story.
Yeah, and that's why that's one thing I do like. That's the decision I like, because if we're gonna present Hager, it's always tough to book big guys like Big Show and Kane, and it's like, we don't want you to be our top star, but you're so big and scary. How do we do this and not make you look bad? How do we beat you? Make you look bad? And this is a good way, because now Hager might not get another opportunity at the title. So now it's okay if he keeps winning. It's like, and Jericho could always take his shine because Jericho is basically his boss. He could be like, hey, let me go after the title. And you can hide Hager, He doesn't have to lose. He can keep winning. But you told the story. You found a way out. Everyone is good. Let's clean our hands and get out of here. Everything is fine because in a hardcore match, Moxley, the hardcore expert, should win, and he's the champ.
And
So,
here's correct. Now here's the only thing that I will say though with Moxley is that I know that again, Moxley really likes that hardcore deathmatch style stuff. And again, it's just a preference for me. I just think that seeing what he can do in the ring, the guy knows how to work, which really bothers me when he does some of that deathmatch stuff because it's not necessary. This is the reason why, I kind of said that putting the title on Moxley would do more harm than good. So far, I've been wrong, which I'm happy about. I think that Moxley can definitely work. I just think that a little less of these gimmick type matches and maybe have him work a little more just straight wrestling matches, to kind of establish the title as more like in the working sense, to be like, all right, he can actually work just conventional style matches and not do all the, have to do all the hardcore stuff in order to win. I know that this match with Hager, it made sense to do it only because of the fact that it gives Hager an out. Because if it would have been just a straight wrestling match and Moxley beat him, it would have hurt him worse than the fact that Moxley had to DDT him on a chair and did do all the things he did.
I mean, I think you can still do it. You can still have Moxley beat him in a clean match. But this is perfect. What they did was perfect. It's like he's not hurt at all.
No, not at all.
There's no recovery needed. Everything is fine, and we can move on. We can move on, and everything is fine.
The only thing is with Hager is that when Hager starts working his matches, because I think that probably 1 or 2 enhancement matches might be good for Hager, just so he can get wins. I would say that if he's talking to the camera or cutting promos, he needs to be saying, "I'm coming after you, Mox. It's not over yet." All right, so NXT began on Wednesday night with a package basically highlighting the two big features from the week before, which was the 6 women ladder match for the #1 contendership for the NXT women's title, and the match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in the empty, in the empty soundstage or whatever. They spoke about, they showed Candice LeRae, essentially turning heel and helping Gargano beat Ciampa. And they walked out and they showed Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux. They showed them in the limousine, even though they look like little ants. But if you zoom in close enough, it's them. And then they go to the pack. They go to the show. Phillips and Saxton. Again, they're a good commentary team. If you're not gonna have Mauro Ranallo, Beth Phoenix, and Nigel McGuinness, Saxton and Phillips are great. I like them both. They did an excellent job this week on narrating the show. The first matchup was Finn Balor against Fabian Aichner of Imperium. I will say this. I love the fact that with Finn Balor is kind of presenting himself as a heel, but I think that the way that his matches are working out, he's actually a tweener. He's not a baby face. He's not a heel full front on either side. He straddles that middle very, very well. Imperium, I love him. I love Imperium. I love everything about him. Presentation, I love the classical music that they come out to.
It's so funny because they're almost presented like Nazis. But
it's a bit of, I think you might be stretching a bit, but
they are presented. Look, Hitler right now is like, they should win every match.
I mean,
but I will say there's something about them, like there's a work ethic, there's a seriousness, like for wrestling and a passion and a respect.
Yep.
That make them very like, I kind of want to see them as the good guys.
You know what? the one thing about Imperium is I love Aichner, I love Bartel, and obviously I love Walter. Alexander Wolf kind of seems kind of funny because of his look. That's all it is. It's just based on look. It's not on work ethic because, Wolf is a really good talent. I just think that when I see the whole group of Imperium, it almost seems like you have the 3 big brothers and they're all really badass, and then you got the one like goofy looking one, and that's how Alexander Wolf comes across. So, but Bartel and Aichner, I mean, my God, they're really good. I love everything about it. Just the classical music. They come out and they're all like really stiff and standing at
It
attention
works.
like soldiers. It's beautiful. It's great.
It works.
The match, my God, that match was so good. Um, obviously, they're Balor's the baby face in this match, obviously, because he's all alone and he's basically fighting 2 against 1. Good chain wrestling, stiff, man, stiff shots. I mean, both of them give it as good as they get. And I mean, my goodness, like, again, I think that names like Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel, those are really goofy names, but those guys are legit. They're tough, man. They're really, really tough dudes.
They're goofy names, but they work. I don't have a problem with those names at all. They work for me.
I guess.
I don't know what it is about those names. Like, I think they work. They work fine for me.
The match, the ending of the match, obviously, with with Balor going over with the coup de grace. Obviously, what they're doing is they're telling the story. He beat Alexander Wolf in NXT UK. He beat Eichner this week on NXT. Obviously, the match is going to be him against Walter at some point. But the one thing that I noticed, man, did you see Balor's chest?
Yeah, nice and red.
Man, it just I saw it. And I was like,
that was a nice Eddie Guerrero.
This. I mean, his chest looked like raw meat. I mean, he took some paw prints on that match. I mean, my God, I saw that and I was just like, man, I don't know why. I just thought it was like, man, I love seeing matches like that. I'm glad that I'm not in the ring during matches like that.
It was definitely a fun match. And it's a guy, if we're getting Finn ready for Walter, that's perfect. Eichner to me is a tag team guy. So like I say, it's smart when you take a tag team guy who's everyone knows it's good. Like, oh, this is a good talent. You can beat him and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Eichner's fine. Losing to Finn, of course, he's fine.
No, because Balor's the star.
My only thing with Finn is we need to hurry the hell up. I don't know. I thought Finn would come in and I'd be like so excited, and I'm like not excited yet, and I feel like it's taking too long for me to get excited for Finn. Like, he should be a much bigger deal than I feel he is right now.
Okay.
But who knows? Maybe they're just waiting and they're stalling because
it's the situation they're in right now.
Yeah, maybe they just want to hold off on some of the cool stuff.
I mean, think about it. If things were all normal right now, we would be talking about Finn Balor versus Walter in the next big NXT show.
Yeah.
For the NXT UK title. I mean, we'd be talking about that. If not, they would put that in the Money in the Bank pay-per-view match. Because I would have been like, I'll pay money to see that.
Yeah.
Those two guys, oh yeah.
Well, the good thing is that is a matchup that feels fresh and feels exciting.
And it's going to be good.
Yeah, it'll be good. What happened next?
The Charlotte Flair promo, talking about, obviously this promo was perfect, and she's basically talking about how she is her coming back to NXT is to basically solidify her as the greatest female performer, meaning she's the best performer of the past. They showed her beating Trish Stratus, they showed her beating Nikki Bella, all the past women's wrestlers. Then she mentions like, oh yeah, I tapped out all the horsewomen. Becky, Sasha, Bayley, they all tapped out.
And now she's going after
and now I'm coming back to basically be the best of the future. We're seeing all the future women on NXT that I've been here for the last year, or is the greatest women's division. Now I'm coming here to run roughshod through them. I was like, it's perfect. Again, I'll always say the wrong woman won at WrestleMania, but if that's the story that they're telling, excellently done. Because Charlotte can you just give her bullet points and she's going to run with it. She's a great promo. And the fact that this was done perfectly, I think the package run like maybe 3 or 4 minutes, but I'm like, man, it was not boring. It wasn't long. She gave the great explanation, and I'm like, yup, okay.
I will say this, though. Charlotte is not going to be on this show permanently. Please, if you have intentions to bring Io Shirai up, then it's fine that Charlotte's going to whip her ass, because people forget about it as soon as Io Shirai comes up to the main roster.
Well,
but don't put Charlotte against people who you intend to keep in NXT, who are big names, and you intend to keep them in there for the next 3 years, and then they're just gonna get their ass kicked. Like,
well, I mean, take a look. Let's take a look at the NXT women's roster. I mean, the women that were featured in that ladder match. I mean, you have Chelsea Green, Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox. Her name escapes me right now. The other Australian wrestler, who was her tag team partner. Oh man, her name escapes me. I'm really upset right now because but she's very good to Team Kick. It's just that's the thing that's running through my head.
Wasn't it this girl? Is she?
She's from Australia, man. I'm upset that I can't remember.
I forgot,
but right now, the women that were featured in that match are all, upper tier people within the NXT women's roster. The thing about it is that when you take a look at that entire lineup, not one of them, at least to me, with all due respect to all 6 women, I don't think either one of them is going to be able to present a money match with Charlotte Flair. None of them.
Well, almost no one on NXT presents a money match for Charlotte Flair. That's why she probably shouldn't be down there.
Except for Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's the money match.
Well, Rhea Ripley is a money match if we're gonna turn Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's not money yet. We were turning her into money. She's future money, and we didn't turn her into money. So
Correct.
now there are no money matches. But in terms of just athleticism and being
Dakota
excited.
Kai. Dakota Kai is the girl's name. I'm sorry. I just
Dakota Kai. I like Dakota
Kai.
Yeah, but Io Shirai is a fun, exciting matchup for Charlotte. So it's something those diehard fans will look forward to. I know I'd like to see what they can do together, so that's fine. But I'm just thinking big picture, and I'm like, we're setting Charlotte down here to run roughshod, and now we have to wait for Rhea Ripley to get her comeuppance. Which there's many ways to do that. You can tell the story in reverse next year. You can wait a whole year, and you can tell the story.
That would be too long.
I don't think so. I think if done right, because
you'd have to really not feature Charlotte that much.
Well, they're gonna feature her twice as much because she's gonna be featured every week on NXT and every week on Raw.
God.
So let's hope we don't get sick of her. Or now they already filmed Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank would have been a perfect way for Rhea Ripley to torment Charlotte and keep acting like she's gonna cash in and never ever cash in, and then finally cash in on her. And it could be in a babyface way. She could tell her, "Okay, look, I know I've been fucking with you, but we're gonna do this at one of the bigger shows, whatever." And then she finally cashes in and beats her. Yeah, she called her shot. But torment her and play mind games on the way. That would have been fun because it's like, fuck Charlotte.
No, and the thing is that in that promo that Charlotte cut, she basically said who she's going to give the first title match to, which is going to be Mia Yim. And she explained it that Mia Yim was her first opponent on NXT when she first was there. So again, it's a nice tie into history.
I'm fine with stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean Mia Yim is a good performer. It's again. No issues here. I just don't think that any of the girls on NXT, with the exception of Rhea Ripley, presents a challenge that I would want to actually see, because I don't believe that any of those girls can beat Charlotte Flair. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, unless you just want to see a fun athletic match, which is fine.
Give her that. Io Shirai's going to give her that, but I don't see Io Shirai winning. She's
not winning. Yeah, it's like we're basically waiting for Rhea. Okay, yeah. But anyway,
the next match, Aaliyah versus Xia Li. Again, this was an enhancement match. Listen, Aaliyah is
which is weird. An enhancement match with 2 girls who are probably on the same level.
And here's the thing, right?
Or am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah. I would agree.
I see them both as girls who've been there for a while now, who are probably Xia Li, right? That's her name.
Xia Li has more upside.
She has some cool stuff that you can build off. But it's still like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever take any of them seriously at this point. They should have never been on TV until they were ready. No. And once I got that taste in my mouth, you're gonna have to work hard to get me back on their side.
Yeah, and the thing is with Aaliyah is like again, I've seen Aaliyah's growth. She went from being like a little girl, deer caught in the headlights, to now where she looks confident out there. The problem is, again, this is just a matter of reality. When I saw Aaliyah against Zia Lee, at no moment did I ever believe that Aaliyah stood any chance to win. And it's based on, look at Zia Lee physically and all of her skills against Aaliyah. Looks like a little girl, and the best thing she could do is cheat. Now, I think Aaliyah's upside is presenting her in a tag team, and I know that her and Vanessa Bourne have been presented as a team. I don't know how much TV time they have, but I think that Aaliyah's future in WWE is going to be in tag team wrestling. It's not going to be as a single star.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen, right? Someone can always out of nowhere get over. It's just harder when you're thrown on TV, right? On USA, and everyone's watching, and you look, you don't look ready, and that's not good. It doesn't look like you have arrived. It looks like you've been trying to rise, and you're there, and this is the best we're gonna get. That's what I kind of see. And I don't know if they can go any higher. Maybe they will, but yeah.
I think that realistically, the one that has the bigger upside is Zia Lee, just because of her look and the stuff she could do.
She can do some cool stuff for sure.
She can do cool stuff, and I think that she would be good in that role. Again, Aaliyah's going to be a tag team wrestler. I don't see her as a singles. The next match was Akira Tozawa against Isaiah Swerve Scott. This was the first round match in the interim cruiserweight title tournament. Good match. For some reason, man, no matter how much they present Isaiah Swerve Scott, I just can't get into him. There's something about him that I just don't get into. It's just like, eh. Akira Tozawa looks great. I think the right guy won the match, because I don't think I've seen Tozawa win a match in like a year. So it was good to see him win a match. But
well, it's funny you say that, because that's what makes me say that the wrong guy won the match. I think you've already hurt Tozawa. Of course, anybody could be rehabbed, but Swerve Scott was an exciting signing when they signed him. He did a lot of cool shit. Some of the stuff that I liked was he was Killshot in Lucha Underground. I know you probably didn't watch Lucha Underground. I'm one of the few people.
I did not. I remember Killshot.
He's Killshot.
I didn't know. It was him.
Yeah, by the end of the I don't know what season, but eventually Killshot became a pretty big deal, and he did a lot of cool shit. And Killshot didn't seem like a small guy. Like, he was presented like a badass. But Swerve Scott is not presented that way, and now they throw him in this cruiserweight, and now he loses to Tozawa. So now it's like bye, good night, Swerve Scott.
I mean, listen, the way that they're presenting it is as a round robin, so it's not a single elimination tournament.
Oh, it is round robin?
It's a round robin, so
Oh, okay, so anything can happen.
So anything. I just thought that it was the right guy won, because I think that really with Tozawa, you want to be able to present him strongly, because I think that he's going to be one of the guys that's going to be featured in this tournament. Again, Swerve Scott, I've been watching him on NXT for however long he's been there, 6 months, 8 months, and I've just never really gotten into him.
Something's off.
Yeah, I've just never gotten into him. The next match, Tegan Knox against Raquel Gonzalez. I don't like cussing, because but my notes was this match was the shits.
Okay, good. So we can skip it. But let me see. I think I had a takeaway. What was I gonna ask you when I saw this match?
I thought it was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing there. All right, what's next?
Here's my takeaway on the match. I thought the match was horrible for this reason. They present Raquel Gonzalez as like this big giant girl, and the match was booked perfectly, her beating up Tegan Knox. The problem is that Raquel Gonzalez still looks very green in her work. Which is
so she shouldn't be on TV.
No. I think that she should.
I think she shouldn't be on TV.
In that, not in a one-on-one match, and have her beating the crap out of Tegan Knox, who's probably looked at in many circles as one of the best up-and-coming women wrestlers in the world. And the thing is, with somebody like Tegan Knox, again, I thought that the match was stupid, because Raquel Gonzalez has been beating her up basically 90% of the match. She puts her on the apron. And then Dakota Kai, goes and kicks her. And then Tegan Knox doesn't even register it. She literally jumps off the corner and is waiting for Raquel Gonzalez to catch her. Then you have Shotzi Blackheart, who comes out, and God bless her, but I mean, Shotzi Blackheart's not going to draw you a dime anywhere. She comes out to the ring.
Really, I like her. I think she's gonna be.
No, please, no.
I think she's cool.
Yeah, listen, I agree. She's cool, but here's the thing: for this particular storyline, find somebody else.
Okay.
I know it's a way you want to feature her on TV, but no. So she comes out, lays out Dakota Kai, and then, Raquel Gonzalez goes and grabs her, and then all of a sudden the match was booked right, and the fact that then Tegan Knox rolls her up 1, 2, 3 and gets out of there. But I just thought to myself, this match was booked poorly because Tegan Knox never had not even a babyface shine moment, didn't have even a little hope spot comeback. It was just awful.
It looked like pure luck, which is weird for someone who's supposed to be one of your top
skilled. Exactly. That's the thing. I know they want to make Raquel Gonzalez look really big and tough, but the way that you book this match is that you have Tegan Knox use her experience and her skill to give her some problems. Obviously, it's still going to be 75-25 for Raquel Gonzalez on offense, and in the end, you have Tegan Knox win with a roll up or something like that, where Raquel Gonzalez makes a mistake.
It's so funny to see a match like this when you have two of the best small workers of all time, in terms of looking bigger than they are and working bigger than they are and getting offense on big people. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, they beat the shit out of big guys all the time, and you never bat an eye. Because they use their skill and their quickness, and they chop you down with kicks, and eventually the big guy's like, fuck. Like,
well, I mean, listen, no matter how big you are, you're only flesh and bone. I mean, eventually you'll go down.
Yeah.
If you hit him long enough. But it was a bad match. The next thing was the Keith Lee promo. I was really looking forward to the promo, and then once I saw it, I ended up not liking it. And
what didn't you like?
It all has to do with the way that Keith Lee speaks.
Yeah, there's something.
And I was like, Keith, just talk like you normally would.
Yeah.
Don't try to present it like you're in a promo, because I don't like the way you speak when you present a promo. You're a big dude. You're not supposed to be, fluent with your words. Don't do that. Just be you. And if that's who Keith Lee really is, then I'd be like, coach him differently. But man, I saw that promo and I was like, man, such a good opportunity to really focus and give him a really good focus piece. And I just thought it came across really bad. And at the end, I just shook my head and I said, missed opportunity. It's like missed opportunity. I just didn't. And
there's
it has to do with the way he spoke.
There's performance in the way he speaks.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
in that particular piece, there should be no performance. It should just be him speaking. Yeah, it was. The next match, it was some. I have here Limas against Tahuti. And I know that there's that match.
This was a squash match.
It was a squash match.
Loomis, right?
He wrestled in TNA, and
yes, he did. And now it's crazy because I was thinking about him, and I'm like, I liked him in TNA, but now I don't know his TNA name, and I don't know his WWE name or NXT name. Derek Loomis. It's Derek Loomis, I think.
But here's the thing about it. I actually was digging the presentation when he came out to the ring, and he had that really creepy music, and he came out and.
No, he's cool.
This guy Tahuti, whatever. I just thought to myself, I'm like, dude, go get yourself a new gimmick. Isaiah Swerve Scott has your gimmick, or you have his gimmick.
I don't know if that guy is anyone of importance. I think he might just be enhancement. I don't know. I never heard of that guy. Never seen it.
But here's the thing, though. The fact that he was presented with an entrance and all that stuff, and he gets like a little Pyron video and whatever, that means that he's
maybe he is. Yeah, maybe.
And here's the thing. When I saw it, I just thought to myself, okay, if I'm not digging Isaiah Swerve Scott, who is presented as the bigger star in NXT, why are you going to have another black wrestler there doing a very similar gimmick, except that he has different colors? Obviously Tahuti was brighter in his colors, but I'm like, it's a similar presentation, except that Swerve Scott is dressed in all black, which I think might actually hurt him because you might want to wear, put some accent colors, put a little red or blue or something, and, just to change it up a little bit. But I hate, listen, the match served its purpose. It was an enhancement match. It was whatever. It just was black. Nobody really got over it, but it was black.
But let's hope. I'm hoping that they can figure out how to get Derek Loomis over. He was kind of getting over it in TNA, but there's always been something off about him.
and
And
he's got a great look.
he has a great, great look. He looks like a psycho. His hair is perfect. There's something really crazy about him. And he looks physically strong. He looks like he can choke you and choke the life out of you.
No, he looks like the guy that if he comes to your house in the middle of the night, there's trouble.
Yeah, so I hope he can, find something. There's always something missing for guys like that, and I hope they find it. I don't know if it's whatever it is. I hope they find it. I do think there's potential.
I hope so too. The next segment was an interview segment. Obviously, it starts, throughout the show, they were showing the thread of Velveteen Dream waiting for Adam Cole to come to the arena so they could discuss the NXT title match. Mm-hmm. Adam Cole cuts a promo from his house. Perfect. It's the perfect heel thing to do. He looks at Velveteen Dream and says, dude, if you think I'm going to be there, you're out of your mind. I've told you before, you're not worthy of a title match, blah, blah, blah. Perfect heel thing to do. Adam Cole is awesome. He's great. Velveteen Dream comes out, and Velveteen Dream cuts a promo in his Velveteen Dream gimmick. And he was, again, I really, Velveteen Dream is great. He really is. He's a good wrestler. He's a hell of a promo. And this Velveteen Dream gimmick, which kind of blurs that line, and he does it perfectly to where he's kind of blurring it, but it's not uncomfortable to where you're like, okay, he is I think what Orlando Jordan wanted to be when he was in TNA, 15 years ago. He just went way over the top, and it became very uncomfortable. But then Balor comes out, and when Velveteen Dream talked about Adam Cole being the greatest NXT champion ever, and then that brings Balor, and he said, hey, wait a minute, when you talk about best NXT champion, you're looking at him. And he said, ignorant comments gets you a date with the prince. And then, and I loved what Velveteen Dream said, because it's perfect character to him. He's like, Dream says, be a gentleman and pick me up next week at 8 o'clock.
That's perfect. That was my favorite part. That was my favorite part of that segment.
That was perfect. I remember when
that was my favorite part of that segment. Pick me up at 8.
When that segment was over, I literally yelled at my TV, this is perfect wrestling promo. Yes, this is perfect. It's perfect. You don't have to do anything more. Perfect. All 3 guys got over. It was perfect. Perfect.
All
perfect,
3. Perfect. I don't know. Wait, hold on.
All 3 guys got over.
I don't know. Velveteen, I'm so done with him in NXT though. I've been done with him for a while. His last program was strong. It was
bad. That was bad.
I do not want to see the heel.
I don't want to see Dream was the heel.
Yeah, they booked it all wrong. But
that was bad. That was terrible.
And that's supposed to tie into this Adam Cole storyline. And I no longer want to see Velveteen against Adam Cole. As a matter of fact, I'll do you one better. Once Finn Balor came out and said, I'm the best NXT champion of all time, I said, oh shit, I guess Velveteen is going to be the special guest referee, because I don't want to see Velveteen anymore. I know it's setting up a 3-way, but I don't want to see Velveteen anymore. I'm done with that promo alone made me want to see Finn Balor against Adam Cole and get rid of Velveteen. That's what that promo did for me. Although Velveteen had that really wonderful moment with the pick me up.
Let me tell you
a great moment. It's really.
Let me tell you why I loved that Velveteen Dream in NXT, because the thing is about Velveteen Dream is that his character within NXT, because NXT presents so much serious wrestling, and it almost seems like a lot of their characters are very dark, meaning you see a lot of guys dressed in black. It's everything about the show is very dark. When you look at Velveteen Dream, he's basically like the reincarnation. If Prince was a professional wrestler, here it is. Mm-hmm. And I think that with Velveteen Dream, the reason why I think he should stay in NXT is because of the fact that I think that he's still green in the ring. He still needs more seasoning and more development. And I think that his character fits very well within that NXT structure, because he can work against the top stars. If he goes to one of the main roster spots, he's going to get lost in the shuffle, at least right now, because you have to really work to get his character over. And maybe his matches, even though he's getting it and the wrestling skill is there and his character is there, it's a matter of, can he lead? And I don't think that he's there yet. If he's going to work with Balor and or Adam Cole, he's got two guys there that are going to lead him very, very well. Just like in the initial matches when he was fighting when he was the North American champion and he lost to Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong led him through those matches, and they were great. The thing is, this last incarnation of him and Roderick Strong, it was horrible because, again, once you bring a man's wife and kid into it, you're no longer the babyface. You're the heel. It's just that's just it. You're the heel.
Yeah, and that's not his fault because he didn't book that.
No, of course not. But whoever did it made a mistake.
I will say this: it's like you're right. NXT does present a more serious product, but to me, Velveteen is made for the main roster. There's plenty of main roster guys that their work isn't necessarily perfect and can't lead. Plenty of guys that can't lead or that were bought up too soon or whatever. Now, I wish I could trust WWE main roster to book him properly. Maybe they can't.
Not right now. They got too many guys.
But
Velveteen.
I think Velveteen has to be a sink or swim character. I think he's perfect for the main roster. I think he's good enough to get it over. I really truly think he's different enough and special enough that he can make it work. It doesn't have to be now, but hopefully this goes away and they can find something fun for him to do. And if they're not comfortable booking him in the main roster because of his weird character, whatever you want to call it, then maybe he doesn't ever go up. But I think with all the serious wrestling in NXT, he kind of looks like he can't keep up sometimes. But his character can keep up with the main roster characters. He has enough character, enough charisma, and there's plenty of guys who can lead him on the main roster.
Oh yeah,
there's probably 40 guys who can lead him to great matches. But obviously now's a bad time to do any changes like this.
No, I wouldn't. I'd keep him on NXT a little while longer.
No, I think if the right opportunity, a Royal Rumble, and there's fans in the crowd, I'm ready to see him on the main roster. And if he's not good enough to get it over, then he's just not good enough to get it over.
Yeah, understood. Then there was an interview here with Malcolm Bivens and Indus Sher. So Indus Sher are two really, really huge, strong, big-looking Indian wrestlers. I think they're both Hindi wrestlers. I don't know their individual names.
I saw them. I didn't get to see the segment.
They wrestled the week before against.
Yeah, I think I saw them last week.
Yeah, that match was bad. I didn't care for it. I will say this: I'm very happy to see Stokely Hathaway, Malcolm Bivens, in the WWE. I loved his work in Ring of Honor. I thought he was a great manager, and I'm glad that he's there. It's nice to see a male mouthpiece because I think that a lot of the managers that we've seen as of late have been mostly female valets. Obviously, they're all the women are wrestlers, but depending on how they want to present them, you put them in the corner. A guy like Bivens is a more of a traditional, heel mouthpiece. His promos are great. He cut a really good promo the week before in the ring, and he cut a good promo this week with Indus Sher. Again, I don't know if these two guys are basically being presented. Again, this might be a matter of WWE, making their impasses into India, and they're wanting to present top Hindi talent. And if that's the case, these two guys really look the part. I just thought that their first match was not very good, and it's like whatever. But of course, it's an empty arena match. But with these guys, you got to build them up, and they're easily 6 months away from significant.
I think we're gonna. This is my. I have a huge issue with NXT. This was fine when everything was on the network and it was an hour show or whatever, and everyone understood. Everyone watching forgave NXT. The show, to me, NXT television on the WWE network wasn't that great. It was a little bit overrated. And if there wasn't someone new being presented, like every month, like, oh, here's a new talent, here's this new person, I think that was most of the excitement. But a lot of it was these people who weren't ready for television having matches. And that's fine. But then you build up to these great takeovers every quarter. And I can live off the takeovers. That's how good they were.
Yeah.
But now on this presentation, being on USA, being on television, and you got to put your best people out there. And if I don't want to see people who aren't ready for television on television.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I have kind of the same dispositions. I mean, I'll say the same thing with AEW's talent, that sometimes they have guys who really shouldn't be on TV. But
Like who? Besides Marco Stunt?
no, look, my position on Mark, I could probably do without Jimmy Havoc. I mean, just because based on his style, I just don't think that his style is works for national television. Off the top of my head, I think that there are wrestlers that I haven't seen, which I haven't seen Billy Gunn and his son on AEW television, which actually.
And I think that's on purpose because I don't think his son is ready.
Okay.
I don't think they're gonna put him out there. They'll put him out there because he's with his. If Billy Gunn can't help him have a good match, then Billy Gunn's the head coach in AEW. If he can't get a good match out of his son, no one can.
Yeah.
But I think if they can find the right combination for his son to have a good showing and not embarrass himself, then they'll put him out there because he's really charismatic, he's fun, he's athletic, and he will be good someday. He's just so green.
A perfect example of AEW this week, Pineapple Pete. Don't put
No,
him
but he's a jobber.
I know, but even then.
Oh, he's a jobber. That's not fair. That's not a fair comparison. These are people who are being presented like the intention for these people is to go to the main roster eventually or to be featured on television.
I don't think Indu Sher would ever make the main roster. I'm sorry. I don't think they'll.
No, I mean, maybe they won't, but they shouldn't be on. AW is now main roster, and they shouldn't be on that main roster's television.
No.
House shows, have at it. Television, absolutely.
I understand. I think that with Malcolm Bivens, with Stokely Hathaway.
No, he's ready.
He's more than ready.
He's ready.
More than
he's fine.
He's more than ready. And the thing about it is, realistically, WWE, take a look when I tell you this. When AOP is ready to return, put them with Malcolm Bivens.
I like that.
You're welcome.
Because when you said when you mentioned this team, right away I thought APA.
No, you mean the AOP.
I mean AOP. I thought
Simmons and Bradshaw are retired.
Yeah. Right? They could probably still go though. Who knows?
Hey, that wouldn't shock me at all. Then we have the main event, right? You have the tag team title match where you have two really makeshift teams. They did the best they could. God bless them. You had the Undisputed Era. Instead of having Red Dragon, which is O'Reilly and Fish, you had Bobby Fish tag teaming with Roddy Strong against Matt Riddle and
Timothy Thatcher.
Timothy Thatcher. Now, thoughts on the match? The match was good. Technically, the match was good. There's nothing about the ABCs of the match that was bad. However, Matt Riddle teaming with Pete Dunne. They're the odd couple, but it's entertaining. Timothy Thatcher looks like he doesn't realize that he needs to be entertaining when he's in the ring.
Oh, it looks like you did. Oh, wow, this is not what I expected. Go ahead, keep going.
He doesn't look like he realizes that he has to be entertaining. With Fish and Strong, it's weird because I think that if I had to pick a pairing for Undisputed Era, this might probably be the worst pairing.
Possibly.
The worst pairing to put. Because when I see Roddy Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, they're great. Fish and O'Reilly are fantastic. You put Adam Cole in there, usually Adam Cole, you see him tag teaming with Roddy Strong for the most part, and they're great. It sucks because Kyle O'Reilly wasn't in this match, and it's because of the fact that I found out the reason why is that he has kind of a semi-compromised immune system because he's diabetic, so he can't be there, which is unfortunate because I think that if it would have been Fish and O'Reilly against Thatcher and oh my God, I was bro man, it would have been a better match. Because here's the thing with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's actually good. I enjoy Riddle. He's entertaining. the thing about it is that with him and Thatcher together as a team, you could clearly tell it's just like, okay, this is going to be a good ABCs match in terms of, the X's and O's of wrestling. But in the end, I just thought to myself, it's like, okay, I understand why they're doing it. You put the match out there, was advertised, but literally both teams were not the teams that were supposed to be there.
Yeah, so don't have the match is all I can say about that.
Don't book it.
Don't book it. It's funny because I didn't notice that the Undisputed Era that it wasn't Red Dragon out there. I didn't notice. That's not good that I didn't notice that because I watched the match.
Well, this could be a positive in the fact that you look at Roderick Strong and he's so good that you can put him in there with anybody in any situation and it just works.
Well, he's obviously
he's
really
fantastic.
good. I tell you why you don't book this match. I cannot for a second believe that you just take Timothy Thatcher, who probably, a lot of people who watch NXT don't even know who he is. You throw him in with Matt Riddle.
If you watch Evolve, you don't know who he is.
Yeah. Although I do have some good things to say about him in a little bit. But for them to go out there and just whoop these guys, Undisputed Era Last is the top heel faction, and they get an easy victory. That's why you don't book it, because if you're gonna have them win, unless Undisputed Era is winning, I don't want this match. This match shouldn't go down, in my opinion. Now I will say this: Thatcher came out there, he made Riddle look tiny. This is a big man. He is jacked and shredded and tall. And I'm like, holy shit. And he can work. His stuff looks great. Yes, he's very serious, but I have an idea. That's the type of guy that needs to go right now and join this little team of Daniel Bryan and what's his name?
Gulak.
Drew Gulak, Daniel Bryan. Wrestler. Let Daniel Bryan be the important guy. I mean, the entertaining guy. But they have like this almost like an MMA camp vibe to it, like a seriousness. And I kind of want to see, based on what Daniel Bryan's been doing with Gulak, I think Thatcher fits in almost perfectly.
Yeah, I could see that. Even though he would dwarf both of them.
Who cares? Everybody dwarfs Daniel Bryan. Everybody still thinks that he's going to win the match. Daniel Bryan wins 87% of his matches.
I will say this: when I saw Timothy Thatcher, I thought to myself, "Is like this is what you get when you have Ole Anderson and Walter Killer Kowalski. They have a love child. There he is, because when I saw him, all I thought to myself was like, he looks like Killer Kowalski, like physically, like the big frame, especially when Killer Kowalski, in his later years where he got smaller, but he was still cut up. He looked like that, and then I saw the haircut and everything, and I was like, "Yep, the beard, Ole Anderson."
He has this old school vibe.
I mean, he's probably like 27 years old, but he looked like he's 50.
Yeah, but he has the shredded, like he looks like he's made like Cesaro. He looks made out of stone.
No, listen, that dude is for real. It's just a matter that when you tag team him with Matt Riddle again, with Pete Dunne, it works because I think that Pete Dunne, his reactions are kind of like he looks at Riddle like, oh sweet Jesus, like how did I get paired up with this guy?
And also everybody knows Pete Dunne.
And Pete Dunne is already a household name
everybody is rooting for Pete Dunne. Everybody's like, okay, yeah, Pete Dunne is a badass. I want him to win. Even if this is a makeshift team and I don't think they can win, I want them to win anyway. So if they win, good for me. Yeah,
and that's the thing with Thatcher is just I understand the situation is that Pete Dunne cannot travel because he's in the UK. He can't come to the United States.
Yeah, don't book the match.
So don't book the match. But like I said, my note was good, not great. And it was because the match was good. Don't get me wrong. The X's and O's are you got four guys in there. I mean, take a look at those four guys in the ring. The guy probably who has the least amount of quote unquote wrestling talent, would probably be Matt Riddle if you thought about it. And Riddle's damn good.
Riddle's the MMA people
he's very good.
Who took to wrestling like it's nothing and got it in a couple of months.
That's what I'm saying. So Riddle's great.
They're all when it comes to bell to bell, they're all great. It's like
it's just a matter that when you put those four guys in the two pairings, I just thought to myself, okay.
There's no reason to have this match. You could have had a one-on-one match to keep it going. Roderick Strong by himself against him,
against
and
Riddle
then you could have had somebody else, Bobby Fish, come out
and
and
jump him, and then Thatcher
jump
comes
him.
out.
And then Thatcher doesn't have to have a match, but he can come on and defend him. He can, make his presence
Thatcher
known. He could
makes
be like,
sense.
yeah, Thatcher could be like, hey, I don't really know Matt Riddle, but Pete Dunne is my friend, and you're not just gonna come out here and jump this guy. Like, what kind of bullshit was that?
He's like he'll basically look at Riddle and be like, I didn't do this for you, I did it for Dunne.
Yeah, I did it for Dunne. Like, you owe me one, by the way.
Pretty well, see, because in this case, in a situation like that, I would have been okay with that match had it not been the quote unquote main event match of the show. If you would have put that in the middle of the show and you would have probably had the Velveteen Dream segment be at the end, maybe I would have been better with that. Maybe. And then the last part of the show, we come out with Tommaso Ciampa, that he's basically, going to go on camera and swallow his pride and say that Johnny Gargano was the better man. He gets caught in, I don't know what it was, but he apparently, just hearing all the noise in the background, it seemed like he got beat up pretty good, even though when he was laid down on the floor, smooth head, no bumps, no scratches, nothing on him, smooth like a baby bottom.
Oh, good.
And then Killer Cross comes down underneath him. You see the boot, the female boot. So that's Scarlett's boot. She's wearing like a 6-inch platform. And then you see Killer Cross just come right down underneath and be like, tick tock. And the show cuts off. And I was like, okay, so now we know who Tommaso's going to be feuding with next.
Yeah.
And
I love me some Killer Cross. This guy has
I do
in terms
too.
of appearance, like the way he looks. Everybody says if you're gonna build a wrestler from scratch, it's Randy Orton.
Killer Cross is pretty close.
Killer Cross is as close to that
pretty close.
Perfect wrestler, like as close as you can get. For my taste, I'm like, wow, he has this realism to him, and his skill set. The shit that he does looks very dangerous, very real, and he's the right guy to do it. He has an intensity. When he talks, like when he delivered that TikTok, those are not serious words, right? TikTok is like, who cares?
His delivery.
But the way he says it is like, oh, this guy's insane. Like, he's crazy. Like, he's dangerous. And he's pissed.
I will say this. This sounds messed up, right? But what I'm going to say may, it's going to probably sound somewhat disrespectful. I think that Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux, both of them, would have been the correct pairing to put in AEW instead of signing Lance Archer. If you put Killer Cross in Lance Archer's role in AEW with Scarlett Bordeaux, what a package.
I think he has more upside. Like Archer, even though he's awesome, we've known Archer for a very long time.
I've
always something off about it.
Years.
Yeah, there's always something.
I watched his run in TNA, and then I saw his run in Japan. And listen, people say a lot of good things about him, and God bless him. He's he to be in the business as long as he has, that's a testament to him. But I've never seen him as a top guy, even in Japan.
And I know that recently, I think it was during the G1. I didn't watch the whole thing, but what I did see of Archer, though, the good matches he had, I think he did figure something out. And I think that's why AEW got excited, because they're like, oh shit, Archer figured something out. His matches are a lot better now than they were 5 years ago. His presentation's a lot better with the cool red hair. There's no doubt that Killer Cross has way more upside for me. And he's more mysterious. You don't know about him that much.
Because
he has a very short run in TNA. I don't even think it lasted a year. It might have been a year.
I don't even count that because, and I say this with all due respect, the reason why I don't count that is because of the fact that Impact at that point had such a minuscule audience. Nobody even saw it.
No, yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. Not a lot of people see it, but a lot of people see it. I don't know how to say it when it comes to wrestling nowadays.
Everybody watches online.
The ratings are not indicative of what people knew Killer Cross right away. The internet blew up with Killer Cross, and this guy was one of the top guys that no one knew about. but everyone started to know about him fairly quickly. He went from no one knew about him to most of the wrestling world knew about him.
See, I knew about him from Mexico. That's where
you saw him in AAA.
I knew about him from
But
Mexico.
even then, he was already on Impact when that stuff started happening. All that stuff is because of Impact.
Of course, but the thing is, even with that, what ends up happening is that the AAA product, and even though the AAA product, I got my issues with that too, because I think that they've gone a little too far away from. I don't want to say that it has to be traditional lucha, because I mean we're not in the 1950s anymore, but at the same time they've kind of Americanized their stuff a little too much, and they've veered away a little too much from what makes lucha.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an evolution thing with them. But with Killer Cross, I saw him there, and I was very impressed with what I saw, because the things that I saw him in TNA, he was the bodyguard, and then it kind of evolved into more of a wrestler stuff. But the thing was that TNA show was so bad that I just didn't care. Even though I liked Killer Cross, I'm like, I'm not going to sit through 2 hours of garbage to watch, 5 or 6 minutes of Killer Cross. It's just that the payoff wasn't enough for me to sit through the show to watch his segment. But listen, WWE has got a tremendous talent. I just think that realistically, a guy like that might be better fit to be in AEW, because I think that he'd be featured a lot stronger. Yeah. Listen, he's going to get way more eyeballs, in WWE, just because he's in the biggest playground. I just don't know if he's going to be featured the best, because they're putting him already with the top, one of the top guys in NXT, in Ciampa, and I don't see Ciampa winning, because it would be completely counterproductive to Killer Cross to have him lose to Ciampa. It's all a matter of like, okay, how do you present this guy? It's not like Ciampa's a middle of the card guy. You know what I'm saying? That Killer Cross can just destroy and move on to the next thing. He's starting at the very top, which is like, okay, usually when you start at the very top, there's only one place for you to go. That's down. So
yeah, there's always that concern with WWE and whether or not they can take care of something that people see as a big deal, and if they can see what you see almost, or do with this special project. If they fuck up Gargano, I'd expect them to fuck up Gargano. Gargano to me is not that easy to book. He's tiny.
And Gargano got over, man. He got over.
He got over in NXT. I don't think he will get over on the main roster.
Touche. I won't give an argument on that.
And I think, and he also got over not because of his character. I think his character is not that good. It's his wrestling and his wrestling only that got him over. Now Ciampa is a little bit bigger, and his muscles look a little bit bigger, and they're a little rounder.
Man, Ciampa's a beast, man. Look,
he's a little bit veinier. He might be just enough that he can do it. He can do well on the main roster. But who knows? Anybody can get over in the right situation.
No, I'm hoping they do right by Killer Cross, man. Because the thing is that he's got him and Scarlett Bordeaux again. Listen, people. I haven't watched much of Scarlett's work, but I've never really been too big a fan. I think that her and Killer Cross as a package is just perfect. Yeah, they're real life boyfriend and girlfriend, but man, they're even if they weren't, they're a perfect package for television.
It also adds an element to Killer Cross. It's like an extra character element, like like because maybe she can be in his head or in his ear when he's about to snap. Maybe she can bring him down. Who knows how they're going to use it, but I'm sure they can find creative ways.
I mean, I think this is going to be a great package. It's just a matter that my concern is with this is that when you start a guy directly at the top, there's only one place to go, and that's down. And
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping he starts at the top. He beats Ciampa. And then that's it. Main roster. Let's go.
And the thing about it is that for a guy like Ciampa, it's weird because you don't want to see Ciampa get squashed, but it almost seems like that's the appropriate thing to do. If you want to get Killer Cross over big, it seems like the right thing to do, but
I don't know. Totally I rarely see a guy who's that high on the card. The only person who I think did that Which part that I remember was
Undertaker
Cena.
did it for Khali. Undertaker did it for Khali.
Well, that was not the right decision.
I agree. I agree. I'm just saying. Undertaker
Oh,
did it for
God.
Khali.
That is
was
not the right investment to make.
correct. I agree.
If you
but
tell the right story, like you're caught off guard, you didn't know, but then if Ciampa could get him back, you can squash him if Ciampa could get can.
oh no, Ciampa's got to get his receipt. I mean, don't get me wrong.
But I think if they have a good competitive match, he can beat Ciampa. Even if there's some weird, if Gargano wants to do something,
No,
whatever or
You gotta
whatever,
look at- listen.
any excuse.
part of me thinks that with Gargano, this whole thing was designed to get him and Candice LeRae as heels. Part of me is beginning to think that they're on their way out, because what else? What other story could they tell with Gargano? You think about it. What other stories? He's been heel and babyface multiple times. He's been NXT champion. I think he was the North American champion. He's been tag team champions. I mean, he was probably general manager for a night or two. I mean, Lord only knows. So, I mean, dude, he's done everything in NXT. Putting him and Candice LeRae together might be the right thing to move him up to the main roster if that's the thing. Maybe package them as heels, because I don't think that either one of them individually may get over if they're trying to present them as baby faces. But if you put them as a couple, as two heels, maybe. Maybe. I'm not going to say yes or no.
The right circumstances.
Maybe.
Yeah, the right circumstances, it can work, of course. Put them in there against the right people. Hide, his size. Because, he doesn't have the same personality as Adam Cole.
Oh, no.
So he's not going to get over on personality and
no, sir. No, sir. You're absolutely right.
He's going to be on matches, but he's having matches with guys twice his size.
Well, here's the thing, though. When he's presented the heel character of Gargano, it's been better. He's like, his personality comes out a little more when he's a heel. And that, that might be, I don't know if that's.
He can also find more ways to win as a heel than as a babyface.
Correct.
At least he can cheat.
And here's the thing about it with Candice LeRae, right? You look at Candice LeRae, beautiful all-American girl. She looks completely innocent. But then, if she did that to Ciampa, what a great acting job she did. Saying, "Oh, I hate my husband," blah blah blah, and then she nutshot at him. And it got to the point where Ciampa was like, after having beaten him up for 45 minutes, he's like, dude, what are we doing? Like, then all of a sudden I was like, really? Like, just pin the man. Just pin the man. But, it was good. It was good storytelling, but I think that realistically, I don't know if there's going to be a story for Gargano and Candice LeRae in NXT moving forward. I think this might be, they might be moving on out. Who knows?
Yeah,
I might be wrong, but
you're probably right. They probably are getting them out of there, and I don't know if that's what I wanted to see. I think I would have preferred Gargano stay, and I think I prefer him as a babyface in NXT, as the workhorse guy. Whether he's fighting in the main event or North American title picture, he can do both. You can tell, he could have just been that guy at every takeover, like he's been, having great matches and helping other guys get over too.
That could have been a fun match with Gargano as a babyface against Killer Cross. That'd be a fun match.
I'd rather see that.
He'd give him a fight.
Yeah, and it's Ciampa also has great matches. I think Killer Cross will be good.
Oh yeah,
He'll be fine with that first match.
I want to see what the progression is with him, because he looks like a bona fide main eventer already, and after Ciampa, I'm kind of looking down the list, and I'm like, unless you're gonna put, just came to my head. Now I know who's gonna take the strap off of Keith Lee.